Hi, and welcome to Partners for Life. I'm your host, Michael Boudram, and on today's program, we're going to be speaking to a couple. This couple will be speaking about the problems that they had in their relationships in the past, and also they'll be in the studio joining me and talking about how life is today. So, before we listen to their story, I would like to invite you to email us in with any questions that you may have. Our email is love@uckg.org. That's love@uckg.org. We also have a website. You can look at our website at different stories, past programs. If you've missed a program, you can always go and look at a previous program. And that website is partnersforlife.tv. That's partners with an S, then the number 4, and then life.tv. So before we look at this couple today, by the way, the name of this program today is called When Two Become One. And you'll get the picture of this later on in the program. So before we do, I'm going to read to you an email that we have from Maureen from Nottingham. My husband is always busy with everything and everyone else but me. How can I get him to show me more affection? Well, Maureen, thank you for your email. First thing I like to say is this. Consider the whole situation that you are going through. It's best not to blame your husband for his behavior. Maybe there's a reason why he is not showing you any affection. And it's best for you to stop. It's best for you to assess the situation. And then the first thing I would say is to basically ask him, what's wrong? Come out. And with that question, look, honey, is there anything wrong? Why you're not showing me any affection? Maybe he'll come out and say the reason why. But if not, look at yourself, because maybe he's pointing his attention elsewhere. And what men tend to do is they close up. They're not like women. Our makeup is different. We tend to close up. We tend not to open up our feelings. So if there's something wrong, for example, if you are nagging him, then what's going to happen is he's going to show his attention elsewhere. Maybe he's going to be in the garage looking at the car, in the garden, watering the plants. Maybe he's going to be outside with his friends or in front of the TV. And, his time is taken up with that activity because he feels as though he can't be expressive to you. But if you open up to him, if you talk to him, invite him to talk, then maybe the situation can be resolved once he opens up. All right? Well, thank you for your email, Maureen. If you would like to send in your emails, then the email address to send it to is love@uckg.org. That's love@uckg.org. Now we're going to go to the story of our guests who will be here in the studio in a few minutes' time. So look at how their lives were before they met.
My life growing up as a young person was, family-wise, was great because I always saw my parents loving and caring for each other. They used to play around and everything. But when I was 11, my mom passed away, which made a huge impact in our family. Me, my sisters, I was the oldest one, and not having a grandmother or an aunt or anyone that could be a role model near me was very, very tough. I had to mature at a very young age. I had to deal with studying, deal with sisters growing up, deal with the house, help my dad, everything. So it was quite tough.
Well, I grew up in a very traditional setup where my dad would work and my mum would just look after the house. So there isn't much in terms of being, well, I could say that, I could see that there was a family unit, but in terms of love being in the family, I never saw that, as growing up. And the other thing that was remarkable in my growing up as well is that I saw a lot of my sisters, they failed in marriage. So that put a sort of like a question at the back of my head, that is that it, you know? And when I came to my teenage years, you know, I was in a relationship, and the relationship went on for quite some time, but because of the traditional views and everything that I had, you know, it wasn't flourishing at all. And everything broke down after a while, and you know, I lost the relationship and everything.
As I was growing up as a teenager, towards the late teens, that's when I started getting more involved with boys and even thinking of relationships, because before that I was too busy dealing with everything else. So when in my late teens I started having relationships with boys, and it would be, first ones was like, the very first one, as I remember, was like more of a flirty thing, wasn't a proper relationship as any young teenager. But towards the end of my teens, that's when I had proper relationships, where the very first one was like, that I can remember, was like really exciting, because it's your first boyfriend. It's really, how can I say it? It's your first one. So for any girl, the first one has a mark in your life. Eventually, we started dating, and within a couple of months, he asked me to marry him, which I accepted. I was over the moon. Oh, I'm getting married, this and that. But within like 4 or 5 months, the whole relationship broke for no apparent reason. We didn't have arguments, we didn't fight, we didn't have any of that. But for no apparent reason, he just turned around to me and said, I don't know what I feel for you anymore. I don't think I love you. It's better for us to split. For me, that was the worst thing that could have happened there and then. It was like, no, this is not happening to me. This can't be happening. I want to be married. I want to be happy. Why me? But as it was the first one, and I had friends saying, look, he's just the first one, things will change, you know, there are more fishes in the sea. So eventually I let that go, let the hurt go. When I was okay, I met someone else, and we started having a relationship. All the same thing happened. Everything was fine at the beginning. Within a couple of months he proposed, I accepted. Nothing going wrong, no arguments, no nothing.
I was hoping that, you know, one day it will turn into a marriage, you know, as I'd seen my family, you know, my mom and my dad, you know, being in a marriage. So I held on to that. I think I was in that relationship for what seemed to be about 4 years. So, you know, I was probably emotionally attached to that person. And so when it broke down, it just, you know, it was really devastating, you know, emotionally, because I thought I was working towards something that could have fulfilled my life in terms of, you know, love and being in a family. I've always wanted to have a family. That was one of my dreams. But to see that relationship break down, it's like, oh, my whole world just shattered. You know, I didn't know what to believe anymore. You know, I didn't know what to think. What would be my tomorrow? I mean, how could I be able to love somebody if after 4 years, you know, I'm left to this, you know, in this state? So it took me a while to recover, you know, from that trauma. I think that was one of the biggest situation that I went through emotionally that really that really hit me hard.
Within 4 or 5 months, again, the relationship broke. No apparent reason. The same reason he gave. I don't know what I feel for you. I don't know what's happening. It's better for us to split up. Second time, I was concerned, because how can it happen? Once, very fine, it can happen. Twice, that's too much of a coincidence. So that left me really broken, and I said, no, I'm going to give up. The third one, as well, when I was okay, a third relationship happened. Within a couple of months of us dating, he asked me to marry him. I accepted. Within 4 or 5 months, it broke up. The same thing as the first one and the second one, it happened on the third one. At that point, I said, no, I'm giving up. I'm not going to want to get married. Not going to want relationships. This is not working. There's no love. I'm going to leave it. Eventually, what happened is all that hurt, all those feelings went. It all was washed away. And I met the fourth person, the fourth relationship. Within a couple of months, he asked me to marry him. I accepted. We married. I accepted. We got engaged. I left it running for the 4 or 5 months like the previous 3 ones, and the time passed. When I looked at it, it was already 1 year. So eventually we decided to buy a house. We refurbished the house. Everything was going fine. He met my father. I met his mother. Everyone was fine. The only thing was missing was the date of the wedding. Within 3 years of being engaged, out of the blue, no fights, no arguments, nothing. He turned around to me and he said, "Vivian, I don't know what I feel for you. I think it's better for us to split." At that point was it. That was like someone putting a cold bucket of ice down my back, taking a knife and stabbing it in my heart and just ripping it apart. That's how I felt at the fourth relationship.
With me in the studio is Vivian and Voster Katso. Is that right?
Yeah, hi.
Yeah.
Welcome
Hi.
to the studio.
Hi,
Thank you.
welcome, thank you.
So we just heard your past, how your life was, your relationships in the past.
Mm-hmm.
How was it?
Well, looking back now to how my life was, it was, as I said before, I don't know, in the interview, it was quite hurtful, you know, to have gone through that, because I've come to learn that, you know, one of the things that's very difficult to overcome is emotional hurt, you know, that can carry on for years. I've known people who, you know, who can't get over the trauma of the past just because of what they went through emotionally.
And that's what happened to you in your past, as you were saying.
That's what happened to me. Yeah, I really went down. It was quite bad, and you know, thank goodness I recovered. You know, and today I'm here.
And Vivian, 4 failed relationships.
Yes.
What must have that been like?
Looking backward, it's like I'm amazed that I actually got up and tried again and tried again and tried again. I think it was the drive of wanting to be happy that always gave me that hope. One day it's going to happen. But on the negative side, it just inside of me made me further and further go down into a pit, emotionally, self-esteem, everything. Even though I had that hope, but everything else in my mind and inside of me was completely like a black hole, if I can put it that way.
But not anymore. Things have changed, right?
Yes.
You are both now happily married.
Yes.
How long have you been married for?
Well, we've been married, what, 9 years?
Going
now.
on to 9
Yeah.
years.
9 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're going to join me after this break, where we're going to be talking about how Vivian and Voster's marriage has progressed, and they're going to speak about how to have also a successful marriage. So join me after this break.
Today's trivia question is, what percentage of people marry their first love? Is it A, 10%, B, 20%, or C, 40%? Find out the answer after the break.